Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. It is Monday. We are back in studio, and there is no shortage of things to talk about, including, obviously, the big news. I think it was hinted at last week whenever we talked about Washington, D.C. and the cesspool that it has become, that President Donald Trump officially announced this morning he is going to be federalizing Washington, D.C. by declaring a crime emergency in the District of Columbia. He posted on, of course, Truth Social, as he does most announcements he has. He said, Washington, D.C. will be liberated today. Crime, savagery, filth, and scum will disappear. I will make our capital great again. The days of ruthlessly killing or hurting innocent people are over. I quickly fixed the border. 0 illegals in the last 3 months. D.C. is next. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. And so the main points of this executive order are declaring a crime emergency, of course, you just heard, and operation control of the Metropolitan Police Department and other law enforcement, bringing in the National Guard. And he pointed to what we've been talking about here on the show, which is the high crime rate of D.C. in a press conference this morning. Here's some of that.
The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth. Much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it.
He also, within this announcement, as you saw him joined by Attorney General Pam Bondi and DOD Secretary Pete Hegseth, he talked about why is the crime rate in D.C. so high? Like, what got us to this moment? This is the capital of the entire country. I mean, this should be the city that everyone looks to for an example. And here we are talking about the crime rate being so damn high. What is the problem here? Here's President Trump on that.
This dire public safety crisis stems directly from the abject failures of the city's local leadership. The radical left city council adopted no cash bail. By the way, every place in the country where you have no cash bail is a disaster. That's what started the problem in New York, and they don't change it. They don't want to change it. That's what started it in Chicago. I mean, bad politicians started it, bad leadership started it, but that was the one thing that's central: no cash bail. Somebody murders somebody and they're out on no cash bail before the day is out. We're going to end that in Chicago. We're going to change the statute. I spoke with Pam and Todd and everybody. We're going to change the statute, and I'm going to have to get the Republicans to vote because the Democrats are weak on crime, totally weak on crime.
So this is the Home Rule Act that he had invoked. And honestly, this is something, again, we talked about this yesterday or last week, I should say. But this is something that D.C. was not always just given its own devices to go ahead and manage themselves. This was something that historically was under congressional control for a while until they decided to give D.C. the opportunity to try it out. And I would say, if you're judging by the statistics, it abysmally failed. So who can blame President Trump for trying to do that? And so we've got this going on. And even in spite of all of the statistics and the numbers and the crimes that we're looking at happening, Democrats are still, in true Democrat fashion, refusing to admit the high crime and the rates and the statistics in D.C. And they even appear to be completely oblivious to their own comments. Here's a D.C. resident's own testimony in a Washington Post article. It says, "This is a safe city, but overhearing and witnessing gang threats and then watching the camera footage of the thuggery is disturbing," said one resident, speaking on the condition of anonymity over concerns of personal safety. Wait a second. If it's such a safe city, How are you overhearing and witnessing gang threats and then watching camera footage of thuggery? And why are you wishing to remain anonymous because you have concerns of personal safety? You're kind of proving our point. I've never overheard a gang threat. I honestly haven't. And it's just like, that's not a normal thing, guy. So if you feel like you have to be anonymous because it's too unsafe for you to speak out about the crime that's in your city, kind of proving the point, okay? So you've also got senior reporter for CNN, Daniel Doyle, who tried to take a stab at Trump and, defend DC's crime rate as if this is anything that would be defensible. And he said the first section of the president's executive order on DC cites rising violence in the Capitol. He has that in quotes, even though there has been falling violence in the Capitol for a year and a half. And its reported violent crime rate for the last year was its second lowest in 60 years. It's just so interesting because, first of all, Rapid Response posted him, Rapid Response from President Trump's campaign. How much violent crime is good with you, Daniel? Also, they're cooking the books, which, of course, they are, because the D.C. mayor has been tampering with the crime statistics. Throw up that headline, Stephen. Yeah, there's the murder rate. Throw up the headline there. And do we have the headline from the D.C. police? There it is. D.C. police commander suspended, accused of changing crime statistics. So, if you're cooking the books, of course it looks like crime is going down because you're just manipulating the numbers. This police commander, Michael Pulliam, is under investigation now. He was recently put on paid leave. And the DC Police Union has also claimed that police supervisors under Pulliam in the department manipulate crime data to make it appear violent crime has fallen considerably compared to last year. By the way, even with these deflated, potentially manipulated numbers, their crime rate is through the roof. So, of course, they're going to make it. They're just cooking the books. It's just like the CDC with COVID statistics. Oh, this person died of COVID. He was decapitated, but he died of COVID. I mean, these departments have been doing this for a very long time. Anyone with eyeballs can see that DC is like in the gutter and it needs something. So listen, if the DC Metropolitan Police and the DC Mayor Muriel Bowser can't actually fix it, who better than President Trump to come in there and do that? So we'll keep an eye on what is going on there. I want to go ahead and take a quick break, and then I want to bring on one of my favorite people in the entire world. You're not going to want to miss what he has to say. First, I want to thank our sponsor this segment, Craftco. So I've got my Manna White. I see him in my peripheral vision walking towards me to show you guys this is how much we love Flying Ace whiskey here at Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. We love it so much that it's almost gone. But no worries. I've got another full bottle in my dressing room that I keep forgetting to bring in here. And honestly, I just need someone to drink this with. It's American made, by the way, in case you couldn't see. It's a beautiful bottle. It's American made. This is straight bourbon whiskey, aged a minimum of 3 years, made from American grown grains. And this is really I'm being serious. This is delicious whiskey. They've got they've got some flavors if you're into flavoring, but all their stuff is really high quality stuff. And you know that you're supporting an American company who uses American grains and also who does things like support really, really great causes like Folds of Honor, which is, of course, offering scholarships for families of America's fallen. You can go there, buy online, flyingacespirits.com. You don't even have to leave your home to go stock up on whiskey. How cool is that? Flyingacespirits.com. Use promo code BLAZE for free shipping. That is flyingacespirits.com. All right, let me tell you about a true legend in the fight for freedom, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, because General Paxton, if you know him, if you've spent, longer than 5 seconds with him, you will realize very quickly he is not an elected official who, licks his finger up and sticks it in the air to see which way the wind is blowing. He's doing what needs to be done, sometimes perhaps before it's popular. Suing Google and Facebook over censorship, that was him. Setting a record amount of lawsuits against the Biden regime for their constant overreach and abuse of power and open borders nightmare. That was also him. Challenging the election of 2020. Remember that one, you got called a conspiracy theorist. People had their law licenses taken away, but that didn't stop General Paxton because it was the right thing to do. How about suing Pfizer for unlawfully misrepresenting the effectiveness of their COVID jab? also General Paxton. And even when they tried to impeach the guy in his own state on trumped up charges, no pun intended, by the way, Paxton came back swinging even stronger after being acquitted from all of it. So we are talking about a man who is not just an attorney general. He is a beacon of freedom and liberty and a bright light in the conservative movement. And honestly, proof that all you need to take on the machine and win is guts, or I believe we call that in Spanish cojones. And I would like to welcome Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton to the program in studio. Usually I have to talk to you in the screen, and now you're here.
This is great.
Yeah.
I love nice setting.
Thank you. Yeah, it's your first time here on our new set. I think you joined me on the old set, but your first time here on the new set. Is it too much pink for you, General?
No, and I love the air conditioning. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So there's no shortage of things to talk about today. And I was like, I want to talk to him about his race against Senator Cornyn, and we'll get to that. But I do also want to talk to you about what is happening here in the state of Texas, because you are working with Speaker of the House, Dustin Burrows, which, I'm going to be honest, that's a partnership I never saw coming, okay? But you guys are working together in trying to get these rogue Democrats back to the state of Texas, stop breaking quorum so that we can conduct official business. Obviously, they're crying and whining about these redistricting maps, but you guys are directing, tell me if I have this right, you're directing California to enforce the arrest warrants that have been issued to the Democrats?
Yes, that also in Illinois, we're doing it. So
California and Illinois.
Yeah, we're trying to get judges to honor our law, and give Dustin Burrows credit for issuing those warrants. Not every speaker has done that. We're trying to get under the full faith and credit of the Constitution. Other states are supposed to honor our laws. We're trying to enforce those since these legislators left to go to these states to try to avoid. We're trying to enforce those laws, which is you need to show up for your job, or you suffer consequences in those states. Yeah.
And so with part of this, I mean, you're just, like I said, you're coming out swinging. You've got a lawsuit that you filed against Beto's PAC, Robert Francis O'Rourke. Let's call him by his given name. Powered by the People. And then also against George Soros's PAC. What is the name of that one again? I can't remember.
Majority Texas PAC.
Yes. Thank you. And so you have also filed suit against both of them because they are funding a violation of state law.
So what we've done is we've sent out, since they're charities, we have the responsibility as the Attorney General's office to oversee charities to make sure they're not doing anything inappropriate or deceptive. So we have asked for information, communications between the parties, the legislators, and these organizations to find out if what we are observing is actually true, which is they are advertising, Beto is advertising that these are political contributions. In reality, these are not political contributions. It doesn't appear. It looks like this money is going directly to these legislators for personal benefits, like their own planes, their lodging, hotel rooms. And so that would be deceptive, misleading, and a potentially violation of state law. And there's also potential bribery violations if they're inducing them through these offerings of money to do something inappropriate and for that money.
So you actually got a temporary restraining order in the Beto case, correct?
Yes. So we filed for that in Tarrant County. The judge issued a temporary restraining order so that he can no longer, supposed to follow this order, not raise money under the potentially deceptive practice of saying these are political contributions when they're not.
He seems like he is not taking this seriously at all, because he was out there in Fort Worth over the weekend. Just over the weekend, he was supposed to be appearing with some of these Texas Democrats who I think some of them appeared by like Zoom because they're too scared to come to their own state, which is ridiculous. But I want to play some of the clips from him over the weekend. This guy is like herpes. Like he just won't go away. By the way, I'd like to make it clear, I don't know that personally. It's just what I read in the sex ed books, okay? This guy just will not, he's like a little cockroach. He won't actually go away. You cannot fully get him to leave us alone. It's like, we're just not that into you, Beto, right? And so I want to play some of these clips. Here is, Stephen, go ahead and play Beto encouraging Democrats to ignore the rules as if they were ever following them in the first place. Watch.
We don't await the punch thrown. by these would-be fascists to land. We punch first and we punch harder. We want California and New Jersey and Illinois and Maryland and every other state where the Democrats hold the governor's mansion, the assembly, and the state senate to redraw their congressional districts now, not wait for Texas to move first, to maximize Democratic Party advantage. Listen, you may say to yourself, well, those aren't the rules. There are no refs in this game. The rules. We are going to win whatever it takes. We're going to take this to them in every way that we can.
This guy, first of all, he's so gangly, but he can't. I think that he really gets a sense of pleasure out of, he seems like a little kid, like he likes cursing. He thinks that it makes him sound cool and like a rebel.
He's a little enamored with himself, it appears. I think he is a little enamored with himself. Little bit, which is strange because he's very sweaty and he appears to only have one shirt that he ever wears for any of these appearances. But I want to play one more here and get your reaction to. And was it in the air-conditioned studio, Clearly, although maybe it wasn't, he just has a problem. I don't know. But let's play Beto O'Rourke talking about what he wants Democrats to do next time they get into power.
Next time we win power, we're going to drive that car like we stole it. We're going to legalize every dreamer's parents, every hardworking American doing backbreaking work that makes this country so great in the first place, even greater as U.S. citizens.
Oh, well, saying the quiet parts out loud, are we?
Yes, we are.
What is your reaction to Beto coming over here? You saw on the screen is text the word fight to whatever the hell number that was. I'm not going to repeat it, but
it's interesting that he is complaining that we're redrawing these lines, and yet he's encouraging every Democratic state to do the same thing. So clearly he must not really think it's that wrong.
Right.
It's just that he thinks it's wrong for Republican states to draw lines even close to what the Democratic states have done. We all know what they're doing and what they've done in the past. And there's really not many Democratic states left to go gerrymander, right? They've already been gerrymandered. And so it's his sense of outrage is just hard to believe that he actually can present it as real when he knows that the Democrats have been doing this for decades, and we just haven't been smart enough to do it ourselves.
Right. Well, and that's why I love, I had our mutual friend, Texas Representative Mitch Little on last week. And that's why I loved his response to this so much, because he's like, I keep getting asked, why are we redrawing the lines now? Because we can. Because we can. That's all we need to say, because we can. We're not doing anything illegal. It doesn't matter if it's out of the ordinary. We can do it, and so we should. And it's certainly the playbook that the Democrats have been playing by for a long time. I love him saying, oh, screw the rules. Like, when have you guys ever played by the rules?
Oh, Massachusetts, 37% of no Republican representation. There are many Democratic states that have gerrymandered to, there's nothing left they can do. They've eliminated all Republican voices. How un-American is that? We haven't done that in Texas. There are plenty of Democrats serving in Congress from Texas, but there are many Democratic states that have no Republicans, or like Illinois, where a lot of these people went, or Massachusetts, they have 3 out of 17 when it votes 47% Republican.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny watching people like Illinois Governor JB Pritzker, who I call a different name, but I won't, because I respect your official capacity and I don't want to downgrade you, General. Okay. But Illinois Governor JB Pritzker was confronted by NBC News. Of all places, NBC News. That's how you know you're losing, if you're a leftist and you have NBC News actually confronting you on your own hypocrisy. Here's some of that.
I do want to look at the map of Illinois. Let's take a look at this. Despite President Trump winning 44% of the statewide vote in 2024, Republicans hold only 3 of Illinois' 17 districts. These districts seem to be designed to maximize Democratic advantage. What do you say to those who argue that it's hypocritical for you to criticize Texas for partisanship when your state also drew maps to boost your party's standing?
Well, remember that what Texas is trying to do is, again, violate the Voting Rights Act. We didn't. We held public hearings, legislative hearings. People attended them. They spoke out. There was a map that was put out. There were actually changes made to the map, and a map was passed.
He was not prepared to answer that.
Can I say that's a bad answer? That was a bad answer. We put it out to the public. I mean, we do the same thing.
Right.
His claim that it violates this Voting Rights Act is completely false.
Yeah.
he looked like a man that wasn't expecting somebody to actually call him out on his own map.
Yeah, well, he's going on NBC News, so he didn't expect that he was
correct.
going to be
He
confronted.
was not ready for that question.
Yeah. So speaking of someone else who was not ready at all for the road ahead of him, Senator John Cornyn, he is not handling you being his primary opponent very well, in my opinion. He's kind of flailing. And I noticed that I think this was just today that he tweeted this out. His posts on X. Go follow him if you want amusement, honestly. I mean, don't follow him for any truth, but if you want amusement, go follow John Cornyn because he's just getting totally pummeled everything he posts. But he actually celebrated Texas's legal victories today, and he posted this op-ed. It linked to the Wall Street Journal, and it said Texas wins its legal battle to defend its voter ID law, and other states can win in federal court if they do the same. Can you tell me who, General Paxton, who led the fight to win on mail-in ballots and state IDs?
That was me.
Oh. Really?
And I actually helped pass the voter ID law. So not only did I pass it, I actually defended it, and we did win that battle. He is right about that. We did win, but I think he didn't mention it wasn't Texas. It was Texas, but it was
you.
It was my office and me working on that one.
It was Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton.
He conveniently forgot.
Maybe he just doesn't know how it all works, to be fair.
He was Attorney General one time, so he kind of might know.
Oh, he doesn't have that excuse. So, I mean, just watching this, I'm like, why would you post this? This was obviously your opponent. Ken Paxton is the one who delivered these wins, and you're posting about how it's a good thing for the state of Texas. And trust me, John, I agree it's a good thing. It's just that, like, if we like more of that, that's why we're going to vote for Ken Paxton and not you. Now, one of the other things that I have thought was so interesting during this primary is that you have Jasmine Crockett, who has gone out and basically defended, maybe they're besties or something, I don't know. She's defending Senator John Cornyn, saying, and this is maybe the one time that I'll ever agree with Jasmine Crockett, okay? I do agree with her. She accuses him of, well, she says it in a good way, that he is pretending to be MAGA to get through the primary. And on that, I probably agree. Watch.
And right now, what we have is a senator who actually is a real Republican who's doing everything that he can to make it seem like he's a MAGA Republican so that he can get through his primary. But Senator Cornyn, this is not him. This is somebody that sat on our Supreme Court in the state of Texas. This is somebody who typically works in a very bipartisan way, unlike Senator Cruz. This is somebody who is literally doing everything that he can to hopefully get some of that MAGA base.
Oh. So he's faking it.
You know, she might have heard me talk about this. Yes, he's been, he had a conversion on April the 8th when I got into the primary. He became MAGA. Before that, he thought Trump none of us should vote for him last time or the first time.
Yeah.
And opposed many of his policies, like, you know, building a border wall, which most Texans think is good, and was very helpful to the Biden administration in restricting Second Amendment rights, which Trump called him a rhino for. So, you know, I agree with her. This is a new John Cornyn that has occurred in the last 4 months since I've been in the race.
Right. Yeah. He's had a reawakening.
And I agree with her. I would respect him more if he actually stood by his guns and said, no pun intended on the guns, right? And actually just said, look, yeah, I disagree with most Texans on a lot of these issues, but I should still be your senator. At least defend what you've done instead of trying to pretend that somehow you are this other person. Yeah. Which would be me.
Right. Yeah. He's trying to basically
like taking credit for this, you know, this legislation on the photo ID. It had nothing to do with it.
Right.
And to not acknowledge that I was in the middle of all of it. Yeah.
I mean, it just, honestly, I'm like, keep doing this because it just makes him look bad because every single person in the comments is like, you do know who did that, right? It's your opponent. You probably shouldn't be posting this right now. So on the topic of Jasmine Crockett, which again, I don't know. I'm just saying, apparently there's a cute little friendship between Jasmine Crockett and John Cornyn. And I'm not one to just create enemies out of nothing, but I do take offense to anyone saying that they want to be super bipartisan with the left, because I do consider these people to not be good people. The ones that are in Congress right now that are trying to, push for chopping off the healthy body parts of children, for trying to push for pornographic literature to still be in schools, to try to push for, unvetted strangers and criminals to stay in our country. I mean, these are not good people, in my opinion. And so it's interesting that she tries to talk like John Cornyn is so bipartisan, but President Trump actually entered the conversation earlier on Truth Social, and he posted about Jasmine Crockett. I want to get your reaction to this, General. He said, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is a low, in parentheses, very, 3 exclamation points, IQ individual, much in the mold of the AOC +3 gang of country-destroying morons, only slightly dumber. Each of these political hacks should be forced to take a cognitive exam, much like the one I recently took while getting my physical at our great Washington, D.C. military hospital. As the doctor said, President Trump aced it, something that is rarely seen. These radical left lunatics would all fail this test in a spectacular show of stupidity and incompetence. Take the test, in all caps. Again, 3 exclamation points. Should Jasmine Crockett take the test?
If I were her, I would not. I don't think it would go well.
She'd be exposed.
She would be in a little bit of trouble.
I mean, imagine what a world that you have far left extremists like Jasmine Crockett, who embarrassment to Texas. Oh, maybe that's why they get along. They're both embarrassments to Texas.
Which is odd, because that's what he called me, an embarrassment to Texas.
That is very odd. That's interesting.
Yes.
That's interesting, General. But it's so fascinating to see the types of friendships that he comes up with. He's apparently besties with Jasmine Crockett. He wants bipartisanship. He wants to work with the Democrats on gun control. He doesn't want to close the borders, I guess. He definitely wants to fund other countries like Ukraine before he helps out American citizens. And despite him trying to rewrite history, that is the John Cornyn that I have seen for years.
Look, his signature bill was actually called the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. It's BSCR. I call BS Communities Act.
You can just drop the CR.
Yes. So that's him. I mean, he said that Joe Biden asked him to pass this gun bill, and so he joined Joe Biden. I can't imagine being the guy from Texas joining Joe Biden to restrict Second Amendment rights and being proud of it. But that's John Cornyn. You notice he's not talking about that now. He's not talking about his 25 statements or 20 statements where he criticized the border wall and criticized Trump. He's not talking about how he thought Trump was a terrible idea for a president both times. He just doesn't talk about it anymore. Now he's like Trump's best friend. He voted with him 99% of the time, whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. But it's all made up.
Yeah.
It's all made up. It is the fake John Cornyn.
Yeah.
That's what we're with. The fake John Cornyn.
He's trying to rewrite his history to become more like you. But imitation is the highest form of flattery. So you should, I guess.
Can't disagree on that.
You should take it as a compliment, I guess. So tell everyone, obviously, all of these things, it takes money. It takes fundraising to accomplish this, especially when you're trying to kick out a rhino who I've seen the National Republican Association or whatever. They're all in for John Cornyn. I've seen the fundraising emails. I'm like, get lost. I would not donate a cent to you guys. In fact, I feel like you guys owe me money for all of the hardship that you put me through with all these rhinos that you keep putting into office. And so obviously, they've got a lot of money. They've got a great war chest. So listen, Texas needs you, okay? Because we need this man as our senator, and campaigns take money. So tell everyone where they can go to donate.
So it's really important because they do have this mechanism in Washington where money comes in from all over to help these incumbents, no matter how bad they are. So KenPaxton.com, we definitely need all the help we can get, is where you can go donate.
Great. KenPaxton.com. Make sure to go help out and, sign up for updates and all of that, because we have got to get these. I'm not a huge fan of the majority leader, the new majority leader. I'm making sure that I'm being very careful. These are Sara Gonzales' words, not Ken Paxton's words. I'm not a huge fan of him, but having him running things, I'm like, okay, well, as many of the other rhinos as we can take out, we need to take out, because it's not just for Texas, it's for the entire country.
That's exactly right. And that's why this race, whether you're from Texas or not, help me, because I will be a voice for our values, whether you live in my state or not. John Cornyn will be a voice for other values and will be siding with the Democrats. a good amount of time.
Yeah. So one more question for you, General, and then I'm going to let you go. So Joe Biden obviously is not going to be in office ever again, but let's just say you get another Joe Biden. Can we expect to see a Ken Paxton working on a bipartisan effort with another Joe Biden-esque Democrat?
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that actually is the truth. Attorney General from the state of Texas, Ken Paxton, and our our soon to be senator from the great state of Texas, Ken Paxton. Make sure that you donate over at kenpaxton.com. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Please come back soon.
Love to.
All right, let's go ahead. Before we take a break, I do want to thank our sponsors this segment, Brickhouse. Now, Brickhouse Nutrition, I use a lot of their products. I use their lean product as well. But the doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition I talked to them about why protein powders fail, because they've got this poor quality protein. They've got cheap fillers, corn syrup, which stay away from. That's disgusting. And way more than that. And so if you're looking for a cleaner, better source of protein with protein powder, I use Brickhouse Whey protein every single day. It's bioengineered by doctors, not marketers. And it really tastes delicious. They've got an unflavored version if you don't like tasting things that are delicious, but they've also got a chocolate version, which Steven's in the control room. He hates chocolate because he's crazy, but chocolate is delicious. And their chocolate, there it is on the screen right there. Their chocolate flavor is so good. And it's got like 27 grams of protein in it. Very, very clean. It's whey isolate. So make sure that you go check it out if you guys are protein lovers, which you should be. It's good for you. Go to The New Whey. That's WHEY, thenewwhey.com. Use promo code Sarah for 20% off. That is promo code Sarah at thenewwhey.com. So this is kind of a bucket list moment for me, because when I was growing up, I never missed an episode of Lois and Clark, of course, one of the Superman spinoffs. And I firmly have always believed that Dean Cain is the best Superman that there ever was. And we followed each other for a while, but I asked him to come on the show, and because I saw the headlines that he wanted to join ICE. And I know he's taken a lot of heat for that. And I was like, I want to talk to him. And he agreed to come on. Welcome to the show, the one and only Dean Cain. Again, bucket list moment. Thanks for joining me.
I'm honored to be bucket list for me, Sarah. So it's a good deal. I'm happy to be here.
You're so kind. So I know that you're getting hit from the left. You have, John Leguizamo, who's like, oh, what kind of loser volunteers to be an ICE member? What a moron. Why do you think that they're so mad that you are doing something as bold and brave as to say, like, hey, I want to help. Let me help.
It's a tough one. I mean, John Leguizamo, Bill Maher, John Oliver, Jared Moskowitz, a congressman. I mean, it's kind of CNN. Everyone's going at it. It's just so funny because all they have is ad hominem attacks. You don't have to wear a mask because nobody will recognize you. All these personal attacks, et cetera, et cetera. They're trying to scare good people from wanting to step up into these roles. It's the same reason that ICE agents are having to wear masks, because they're trying to dox their families and threaten them. And I don't understand the vitriol against myself or against these ICE officers. I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with them, and they need our support. I think it's because it doesn't fit the narrative, and it's the common zeitgeist right now to say, we're America, we love everybody, and that everybody should be in. Well, no, that doesn't work like that. We don't know who's coming across the border. We have all kinds of, when they say the worst of the worst, there are murderers, there are child molesters, there are human traffickers, drug traffickers, and they're getting tossed out every single day. It's really just kind of a PR fight at this point in time, because I think most Americans support legal immigration, not illegal immigration. And that's where we're getting hung up. And it's just weird. So I knew there would be a firestorm. I didn't realize it would be just flowing lava, but I'm okay with that. If I'm getting attacked by Bill Maher, who did it, Bill Maher was kind of funny. His was actually kind of funny. By Eric Swalwell, by John Oliver, by John Leguizamo, by Margaret Cho, then I'm doing something right.
Yeah. You're also like, thanks for the free publicity, I guess, because what's funny, and you mentioned this, it's like Americans voted. We went to the ballot box in November, and this was the defining issue, in my opinion. All the polls showed it, right? This was the defining issue it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican, right or left, white, black, brown, purple, orange, it doesn't matter. we all agreed that allowing all of these illegal criminals into our country is a bad thing. And we should make sure that we root them out and send them back to where they came from. And it's just like these people don't understand the writing on the wall. They don't understand the world in which they live in. Guys, we just voted on that. And there are more of us than there are of you. And that is why we got the results that we did at the ballot box. And I just don't think they just still can't handle it.
Well, because that's not affecting any of those guys. Anybody I just mentioned, illegal immigration is not affecting them at all. They're not living in an area where there's rampant gang violence going through and doing things. They're not in that situation, so they can sit in their ivory towers and they can talk about it. But it's not true for most of America. And that's why the numbers in the last election were the way they were, because most of America is concerned about their safety. And that's ultimately the job of politicians. Is the number one thing they should be taking care of is the citizens' safety and security. And it's not happening. It didn't happen under the former administration. It's happening now. The argument on optics, okay, I can hear that. I can hear how there could be some optics that are a little rough, and maybe I can come in and help out with that. I hope so, because that's mostly what I hear from my friends on the left is optics situation, optics. And I always ask them, do you think we should have no borders then?
Right.
Should we have no laws? And they're like, well, no. But I'm like, then why do you choose which ones you want to enforce and which ones you don't? That it's a game that's been played for too long. Congress needs to fix our immigration system. We are the most immigrant-friendly nation on the planet. Over 50 million immigrants, legal immigrants, live here happily naturalized within the United States. It's wonderful. We welcome you with open arms. Just don't come in illegally. And if you're coming in legally, you're not going to be able to get in if you're a criminal. Yeah. And we have so many criminals who have come through illegally. We have to root them out and get them out to keep our communities safe. It's not a difficult proposition. When someone else gets caught up in a situation where they're like, well, grandma's been here for 25 years and blah, 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 blah. Well, she did come over illegally to begin with, and she hasn't tried to naturalize or go through the process thus far. And she's had many, many opportunities to do so. So that's the thing that I don't understand. It's like people who don't do their homework and then they're mad that they get an F.
Right.
Do your homework.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you mentioned the optics, and I do. I mean, I hear that a lot as well. And it's like, well, if you want to be mad at someone for the optics, be mad at the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration who just allowed these people in. Be mad that they put President Trump in this position where they have to show up at Home Depots and all these. I know Jessica Tarlov's on Fox News, like, nobody voted for President Trump to show up at Home Depot. ICE to show up at Home Depot. Yeah, we did. We want them to show up wherever they need to in order to get all of these illegals off of the streets and send them back. And it's just like they're blaming the wrong person. That's what gets me so hot, Dean, is I'm like, you're blaming the wrong person. It's not the optics are not President Trump's fault. The fault lies at the feet of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who, by the way, have blood on their hands. I mean, we're not just talking about, the issue of just whether or not we want H-1B visas or whatever. I mean, we are talking about cold-blooded murderers and rapists and gang members who these people still to this day are fighting to keep in our country. It's bonkers crazy to me.
It is. And human traffickers and drug traffickers that are killing our citizens left, right, and center. There's no question about it. It's ridiculous. But, when they do pull up at a Home Depot or anything like that, they have a target. There's someone they're looking for. Just because this dude might also work as an agrarian, in agrarian work or something like that, doesn't mean they're not a human trafficker. It doesn't mean that they're not a murderer or wanted for pedophilia or illegal sex acts on a minor or rape or whatever it is. So just because you see somebody there at Home Depot, they're usually going after somebody. But if you and I were standing at Home Depot when the jump out boys from ICE came out there to get everybody else, guess what? We're not running.
Right.
Why? Because we're here legally.
Yep.
We're citizens of the United States. Hey, I love law enforcement. What do you need?
Yeah.
What do you want done? And that won't be an issue. So there's an optics game going on right now, but the law is the law and it needs to be followed. And number one, for the safety and security of the people here in the United States, of our citizens. And President Trump is taking it seriously. I'm taking it seriously. ICE is taking it seriously. And it's going to happen whether people want it to or not at this point in time. This is the law and they're upholding the law.
So last question for you here, Dean. I was talking to my friend, Matthew Marsden. He's a mutual friend of ours.
Great guy.
And of course, yes, he's wonderful. He immigrated here legally, did it the right way. He is an American now. And we were saying, we want to team up with you because imagine, okay, you've got Dean Cain actually Superman. You've got Matthew Marsden, a legal immigrant, and you've got Sara Gonzales, obviously Hispanic. And we're like, what if the three of us all went and became ICE officers or whatever and went out to the streets? We want to go do it with you, Dean.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that. I'm getting sworn in later this month. So we'll see what we can do, because that's the kind of optics that need to happen. Plus, Matthew has a kid who should be getting over here.
Yes.
And he's having to run through. So it's great for him to be able to talk about the legal system and how we have to fix that legal part of our legal immigration. The United States takes in over 1 million a year legally. But even that system is broken. So it's up to Congress to fix it. But they don't want to. They want to win political points and get reelected and blah, blah, blah. They want the issue to run on, which is disgusting. And I hope they fix it. And I hope this is enough of a spark or of a fire to make them fix it. Yeah. If not, it's going to be Dean, Matthew, and Sara just walking down the street taking care of business.
Yeah, exactly. With Tom Homan. Boy, can you imagine the headlines then?
You don't play.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Dean, thank you so much. And by the way, I applaud you and your efforts and what you're doing. I really am serious. We'll talk offline.
Absolutely.
Because I really think that more of us need to be leading the way and setting the example in helping this administration do what we, of course, elected them to do, even when it's hard and even when you know that you might be hit at from such characters as John Leguizamo and John Oliver and Bill Maher. So, Dean, I appreciate you.
They didn't lay a glove on me, Sara. They didn't lay a glove on me, but they want to get into it.
They do. They want to. They want to so bad.
But I hit back, so be careful.
Yeah. Well, I'm not messing with you, so they shouldn't either.
They wouldn't do it in person, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I believe that, actually. Well, John Leguizamo, isn't he he's like 5 feet tall, so he definitely is not coming out.
He literally wouldn't even consider it. I wouldn't even hit him with a closed fist.
Superman would be like, bing, bye-bye. All right, Dean.
It's disrespectful for a man to slap another man.
Yeah, well, fair.
Yeah, I think I'd slap him.
A little bit.
But I mean, it's silly, and everybody can be tough guy online and but I'll walk the walk.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to do so.
Well, we're proud of you, and we appreciate you. And will you come back soon?
No, I'd love to.
Okay. Perfect.
Love to.
Great.
In a heartbeat.
Well,
I get sworn in at the end of the month.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Do it after that.
Perfect. Yeah, great. Keep us posted, and congratulations. And we'll check back in after you get sworn in.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Sara.
No big deal. Just had Superman on my show. That's cool. All right. We've got more coming. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome to the show. He only gets in here every once in a while. Back in studio, of course, Matt Kibbe, host of Kibbe on Liberty, also the executive producer of The Cover Up, which you can find right here on BlazeTV. And you're here in the flesh.
I am right in the flesh.
Yeah,
it's cool to be back in the free state of Texas.
Yes, yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. Also joined by another Matt Marsden, of course. Matthew Marsden, BlazeTV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, who will be referred to as either Marsden or First Buddy from now on throughout the segment, so we do not get the two Matts confused. It can be confusing. So welcome, both of you. So obviously you have The Cover Up that's available on Blaze TV. It goes into the pandemic and Fauci and all sorts of just nonsense that they were doing. And I read this article this morning, and it kind of reminded me of some of the things that took place during COVID. The FDA, inexplicably under RFK Jr., lifted their pause on the vaccine against the virus in China. This is called the chikungunya virus. It says sparking global epidemic fears. I'm doing the best I can.
It feels racist somehow. I don't know.
Chikungunya. It does feel racist.
Yeah.
I hope it feels that way. That's how I intended it. I'm just kidding. So the vaccine was approved for adults 18 and up back in 2023, even though there were only 153 travel cases at the time. And then they paused it because there were like 17 super serious side effects. And now they've decided that they're just going to go ahead and push it forward. It's okay because some things are happening in China. Now, by the way, remember, this is not, doesn't transmit person to person. It's just a mosquito that you get it from. And, but now all of a sudden they've lifted their pause. They've got an epidemic in China. In China, they're like holding people up again and going through quarantine. And I'm like, oh boy, ooh, feels eerily familiar.
Yeah, it rhymes, doesn't it? And the whole point of this series for me is sort of explaining what happened, who did it, and what I call the pandemic industrial complex and its relationship to the military industrial complex and the censorship industrial complex. Even if we expose all the bad actors of that time, we need to understand that that infrastructure is still in place, and they're itching for a new crisis because that's what they feed on. They feed on the power of that. So the difference, I think, is that there's plenty of us, and I think a lot of Americans have come along with us, early skeptics of this nonsense. We're not going to buy it the second time, and they're going to have to really scare the crap out of us if they want us to fall in line again.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at, again, it's not transmitted human to human. You get it from a mosquito. So like, I should have the right, if I want to go outside and risk getting bit by a mosquito, no other person is going to somehow harm me in doing that. So why can't I just go do that? According to China, you got to be holden to, like, what are they, like, soldered into your...
What do you remember that? Whatever happened to those videos, you know, people like keeling over in the streets and we just like carry on like it never happened. Oh, yeah. I remember watching that and going, what is going on? And they were welding people. That's what you were looking for.
Thank you.
Soldering is like little things.
I don't know. I'm a girl.
Welding is big things, yeah. But they were welding people into their apartment complexes. And I mean, and that was the early days of COVID. And by the way, nobody is really like, I mean, people have examined it, obviously, but this is outrageous what China did around that period of time. I think, as Matt said, nobody's buying it this time. Nobody's buying it, and we shouldn't have to. And it is a little bit disappointing that the FDA is doing this.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, like... I did read a while back, a couple weeks ago, RFK was on vacation, and it was at that time that they pushed forward with some, COVID vaccine directive that then he came back and was like, hey, by the way, you're fired for doing that. So you have to wonder how much of this is still the deep staters who, as you said, Matt Kibbe, as you said, they really have to, they just want a big fear-mongering epidemic so that they can grab more control.
They're still there, and the echo chamber, it goes far beyond the government agencies because it's the universities, it's the NGOs, it's the media. They're all complicit in this story, and they all sort of feed off of the billions, and I would argue trillions, that are generated when we, for instance, mandate that everybody has to take that pharmaceutical company's product.
Right.
Like, why wouldn't you keep doing that? It's a profit center.
It's an amazing business plan if you can get it.
Yeah.
Right. You create the problem and then you create the solution. I would argue. So I know we've only got like a minute left. So I want to ask you, Matt, and by the way, I wish we had more time because I could go on this the entire episode. I want to ask you, Kibbe, Fauci's obviously pardoned from an auto pen. Do you see that changing? Do you see the Trump administration uncovering something to get them to take that back?
I do. Senator Rand Paul is the chairman of Homeland Security now, and he has been given pretty drastic subpoena power. And the problem is, if Anthony Fauci comes and testifies, he is not forgiven for the new crimes he commits, like perjury. So I think Rand Paul is not given up at all, and we're going to see a lot on this.
Oh, please.
Your lips to God's ears.
Exactly. Yeah.
Please, nothing would make me happier. Matt Kibbe, Matt Marsden, thank you guys.